You've felt it before. That moment when the conversation dies, and suddenly you don't know what to say. Your mind goes blank. You smile, you nod, you look for an exit. And later, alone, you replay it. That one moment where everything just died, thinking about what you should have said. Here's the thing. That's not a personality problem. That's not who you are. You've just been trained wrong. Nobody ever taught you this. No one showed you how to walk into a room full of strangers and feel at ease. What to do when the conversation dies. How to make someone feel like the most interesting person in the room. They just expected you to figure it out. And most of us didn't. We learned by crashing, by the silence that swallowed us alive, by that party where we stood near the wall holding a drink we didn't even want, just waiting for it to be over, by the girl we liked but couldn't connect with, by the job interview where we knew the answers, but our presence didn't match our brain. Social connection is not a talent. It's a skill. And today, I'm going to give you what nobody taught you. Let's start with the root of the whole problem. Because if I can fix this one thing in your head, everything else becomes easier. When most guys go quiet in a conversation, they think the problem is that they're boring, that they don't have enough topics prepared, that they're somehow broken. This is where most people get it completely wrong. The real reason you run out of things to say is that you're not actually listening. You're managing. You're in your head, checking your posture, judging what you just said, planning your next line before the other person has even finished their thought, running a full internal commentary while someone is literally talking to you. Researchers call this cognitive load interference. Your working memory gets so full managing yourself that it has no space left to actually receive the other person. And here's the brutal irony. The harder you try to be interesting, the less present you are, and the less interesting you actually become. The fix? Stop performing. Start receiving. Because the moment you stop trying to be interesting, you actually become interesting. When someone speaks, your only job is to understand what they're actually saying, not to evaluate it, not to plan your response, just absorb it, fully. When you listen like that, something remarkable happens. You naturally have things to say, because real responses come from what was actually said, not from a mental list of backup topics. Here's the part nobody tells you. Most people walk into a room thinking, how do I not look stupid? That's the wrong question. Completely wrong. Here's the one that changes everything. What is genuinely interesting about this person? Not how do I impress them? Not what should I say? Just what is interesting about them? This single shift moves you out of threat mode, where you're protecting yourself from judgment, and into curiosity mode. And curiosity is the engine of every great conversation. When you're curious, you ask real questions, not the where are you from, what do you do questions that feel like filling out a form. Real questions. Questions that open doors. Instead of what do you do? Try what part of your work actually gets you fired up. Instead of where are you from? Try what's the thing you miss most about where you grew up. Closed questions collect information. Open questions invite people into themselves. And when people go into themselves, when they start talking about what they actually care about, they light up. That light reflects onto you. You don't have to be fascinating. You have to be genuinely fascinated. Now here's something almost nobody talks about. And it might be the most counterintuitive thing in this entire video. The most magnetic people in the room are not the loudest. They are the most comfortable with silence. Watch the next time you're in a conversation. The moment silence hits, people rush to kill it. Filler words. Random thoughts. anything to escape the discomfort. And that scramble, that visible panic, communicates one thing louder than any word ever could. I am not comfortable in my own skin. And people feel that instantly. But when you can sit in silence for a beat, when you can let a moment breathe, you communicate something completely different. You communicate that you are not afraid, that you don't need to perform, that you are grounded. Psychologists call this non-anxious presence. It's one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. Invisible, unfakeable, and immediately felt by everyone around you. Practice this. Next time there's a pause, resist the urge to fill it for just 2 extra seconds. Let the other person feel the space. You will be shocked how often they fill it with something more real, more personal, than anything that came before. Silence is not a failure. Silence is trust. Now I want to go deeper, because tips will only take you so far if the foundation is cracked. Most of us walk into social situations with a silent question running in the background. Do I belong here? And when the answer feels like no, everything else falls apart. We get smaller. Our humor disappears. We monitor every word. We perform rather than connect. Here's the truth most people never realize. Belonging is not something the room gives you. It's something you decide. Nobody in that room was voted in. They just showed up and stayed. Before you walk in anywhere, a party, a date, a stranger's circle, make a decision. I belong here. Not because I've earned it, not because I'm better than anyone else, but because I'm a human being who deserves to take up space in this world. This isn't arrogance. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Belonging says, I'm here, and that's enough. Research on social anxiety consistently shows that the biggest differentiator between people who thrive socially and those who struggle isn't skill level. It's permission. The ones who thrive have given themselves permission to be there, as they are. You don't have to become someone else. You have to stop apologizing for being who you already are. Last thing, and this is the one most people completely overlook. If you want to be someone people genuinely remember, not just tolerate, but actively seek out, do one thing consistently. Make people feel seen. Not complimented, not entertained, seen. There's a difference. A compliment is, you look great. Being seen is remembering. They mentioned last week they were nervous about a presentation and asking, how did it go? Being seen is noticing they got quiet when a topic came up and not pushing. Being seen is using their name at the right moment. Being seen is listening so well that when you respond, they feel like you understood more than they even said. People don't remember what you said. They remember how clearly you understood them. The deepest human need, more than comfort, more than entertainment, is to be understood. The person who makes others feel understood becomes indispensable, not because they're impressive, because they're safe. So here's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need a script. You don't need to be louder, funnier, or more interesting on paper. You need to be present. You need to be curious. You need to be comfortable in your own silence. You need to claim your right to be in the room. And you need to make the people around you feel seen. That is the whole game. Nobody taught you this. But now you know. And once you see it, you don't go back.